Okay, this video is gonna be going a little bit about the preferences. So to access the preferences, you can go Edit, Preferences, and then you get the preference window open, and then you get into the Tools, and there you have multi options on each one of them, and also on the selection, but on the selector there is not really anything of importance, but here on the node one there are a few important settings what will help you with your digitizing, and one of them, that is the one here, that is show path direction on the outlines. It is quite possible that that is unchecked, so make sure that that one is checked. And this is also an important one, that is deleting the node's preserve shape. In some instances you may want to have this on, and in some instances you may want to have this turned off. That depends on what you're planning to accomplish with deleting your nodes. And I will show you an instance in a while. So then with the shapes, each shape you can have that it is to the last used style, or you can have that it has its own style. So that is also a preference, and that is for each of the shapes that is the same. And your pen tool, there also last used style or this tool's own style. Play with it a little bit and see what you like best. And there, for the rest, there's not really a whole lot what needs to be changed. Then one where I like to make you aware of is on the interface. Here, for some languages, some people, they have an issue with the language, and that is what you setting over here. And then you can set your language to the desired language. And one I like to make you aware of over here is, here also you have the lock canvas rotation by default. That you may want to check that one. And here you have the handle size. That can be really handy also if you find that your nodes are really small. You can go and increase the size of your nodes over here by moving the slider over to your liking. Then there is also the theme, so there you can set up the colors and the toolbox icon size. You can change that to small, large, or larger. That is personal preference there. And the windows, here you can set that your dialog behavior, if they are dockable or floating. I like them dockable, and then just drag them out if I want to have them floating. But there too, that's also personal preference. And here the grid, if you can change here your grid units to whatever you need, because you can have snapping turned on, and that it will snap to your grid. So here you can change the spacing and where to start, and where to start your on the x-axis and the y-axis, and how far of a spacing you want. And then you can change the grid color, and you can change the major grid line color, and the major grid line you can set that how many lines are in between before the next one becomes a major line again. Here the keyboard shortcuts. There you can change some of the shortcuts if you prefer so, and there's all kinds of, I'm not going to go through them, but that is also personal preference. So that is that. Okay, then we go to the behavior. And then we go, well, go and read through them and see if there is anything what is to your liking. I like to make you aware of the scrolling. Here I have checkmarked the mouse wheel zooms by default. That is possible that it is unchecked. So I like to scroll with the zoom with my mouse wheel. Then you can set here your snapping, the snap indicator. So here you can enable the snap indicator, only snap the node closest to the pointer, and snap the mouse pointer when dragging a constraint knot. So there you can set some of the sensitivity. And here you can also enable snapping in a new document. So if you don't want snapping in a document, you can turn it on here, but you can also turn it off on the main screen quite easy. Then in your steps, so here you can change these settings. I like the inset outset, and I changed mine to 0.2, and I use this setting for giving certain objects once they are drawn and say they are snapped to the previous the edge beside it, and then I want to go and expand them a little bit. Then you can use the inset or the outset, and you can have that value changed over here. Also, this one, rotation snaps every 15 degrees. That can be handy if you want to create a certain object in a circular pattern. So if you want to make multi-duplicates of a certain object in a circle, say if you want to have one object and you want it in, say you do a snowflake. A snowflake would be six objects, so you would only have to create one object, and then you can go and rotation snaps, and then you can go and change this to the 60 degrees, and that way you can snap your rotations quite easy. So keep that in mind. And let's see, we don't really have to do with clones, but go through each and individual one and check out if there is anything of your interest or where you're working with. One of them, okay, here input output, and so there you can, there is the current directory for Save Us under System. Let's see, Well, so here in the system, that is where you find all the location where all the files and folders are, and you can open them by just clicking on this open button. And let me see, so like here you can set your bitmap editor if you need so, and you can change that if you have another program what you want to use for editor, and SVG editor, that is Inkscape, and the export resolution you can change that here. Resolution for creating a bitmap copy, you can change that over here. And then here with the rendering, if you find that your computer seems to act sometimes a little bit slow, you can try to change the Gaussian blur quality for display and set that to a lower quality. And the filter effects quality for display, you can also go and lower that. And now I'm looking for one more specific thing. And it input output for the autosave. I'm trying to locate here the autosave, and that should I thought it was under the input output system. Why doesn't it? It's not in there. Input output, because there is a setting for the autosave, and that also gives you a for if Inkscape crashes, it will make an autosave. And you can set on how often it saves, but for some reason I cannot go and find this right now. Sorry about that, because in my note I have it here that you can set in the input output that there is the autosave, and then you can set your directory, and you can set your interval, and you can set your number of saves. But for some reason it is not showing me now, or I am overlooking something. It's not there. Input. Okay, let me see. No, this is strange that I can't. Oh, here we go. Now I got it. Here is the autosave. Okay, enable autosave. So watch that is check marked, and then here the autosave directory. So you can check here the directory where that is, and you can change that also. and here you can have an interval in how many minutes, and that can be changed, and the number of autosaves can also be changed. So for some reason, I don't know what happened there, but anyway, we finally got to where we wanted to be. So that is where you can go and change some of these settings. And also, now that we are back into the main screen here, if you want to access the preferences for a specific tool right at in a quick way, then what you can do is, so I want to change the preference for my nodes tool. All I need to do is double click on the node tool, and I have the preference for the node tool, and I can go and change here some of the settings. And if I do that for the shapes, double click, as you can see, now the preference for the rectangle shows up. So if I want to change a setting while I'm working on a project, I can do that right by double clicking one of these. And that is the same here with the Bezier tool. There also, now that I have the Bezier tool and I have nothing selected, and as you can see here in the top right corner there, the stroke is set at black. If I go now and I change the stroke, as you can see, I may have, no, I shouldn't have anything selected. I'll try it once more. As you can see, it stays black. Now I will go to the preference and I go to the last used style and go and close out of here. Now I have my Bezier tool is set here with a fill and a stroke. Now I can go and set the stroke to none, or the fill to none, and if I want to change my stroke, as you can see, now my stroke is set, and as I'm gonna start drawing now, I have a stroke in the color yellow. Then now because I have still here the stroke, then it will switch it over right away. But if I would deselect, and now I'll go and set stroke. Go to the Bezier tool again and set my stroke. As you can see, now my stroke is right away is green. So that can be changed in the preference. If you don't have it over here, you can also, once the tool is selected, you can also click over here on the tool, and that preference window will pop up. And as you can see, now that I have a rectangle selected, I have a stroke is set for green and no fill. Now I can go and set a fill, and there you can see now I have a fill and a stroke. But I want to make you aware, this is the stroke what we made previous, and that was still selected, and it has created a fill on there also. So you have to make sure, if you're making the fill and stroke adjustments on the go, that you have nothing selected, because otherwise you are gonna have objects what should not have a fill, they end up having a fill. So that is basically all what I want to tell you on this one. Okay, also with the nodes, what is, oh yeah, I was going to show you if with the nodes, if okay, now I have one node over here, and now I will go and select this node, and I will go and delete that node. As you can see, now I keep a curved line, and I'll go and undo. Now I will go to the node preference, and I will go and take this check mark off deleting nodes preserve shape and go close. Now as I'm selecting that node and delete it, now it ends up right away, it becomes a straight line here. So be aware of that and what you're doing and what you want to accomplish. And as you can see here too, on the node select, there show path direction on outlines. If I turn that one off and deselect, and now I see the red line, but I don't see the little pointers, and those little pointers, they become fairly important when you are gonna be creating your satin lines, that you want to see the direction of the line. And because for creating the satin, they will have to run, both rails have to go the same direction. Okay, then also if you don't see this red line going down the center, then there is an icon over here in the top right. If that one is check marked or not check marked, as you can see, now I don't have a center line, and now I have the red line on the object. So hope this will help you with your digitizing, and hopefully a few more videos will follow. Thanks for watching and have fun.